Hi there! Today we take a look at the FeiyuTech AK2000C. Have fun with the video! The gimbal is delivered in this packaging. There is a nice picture of the gimbal from the front and back. As you can see, FeiyuTech is also promoting the gimbal for DSLR cameras. On the side there are some QR codes for video instructions in social media. On the upper side we find the manufacturer's company data. Only the text AK2000C can be found on the other sides. Well, let's open the box. First of all, here we find the description of the gimbal. Here are instructions on how to balance the gimbal. This is very important for such a device. All other parts are neatly fixed in foam. A suitcase is not included here. Let's now briefly go through the content of the packaging. First we find a small tripod. In the next compartment we find 3 cables. In the next there are more cables and the Allen key. Then we find a lens holder with screws. We also have a quick release plate here. So, now only our gimbal remains in the box. This looks very valuable when you first pick it up. I like it very much. But before we take a closer look at this, let's take a closer look at the other individual parts. Let's start with the cables. The first thing we have here is a USB to USB-C cable for charging the device. Then we have a USB-C to DC 2.5 cable. As far as I know, this is for Panasonic cameras. A USB-C to micro USB cable. Then we have a USB-C to Sony multi-cable. A USB-C to TRS 2.5 cable. And last but not least, you get the USB-C to USB-C cable. All cables look neatly processed and the quality is okay. Then we had an Allen key in the package. Let's take a quick look at the quick release plate. This is rubberized on the top and made of aluminium. Furthermore, there are logos for the lens alignment. There are two screws on the underside that mechanically secure the plate in the gimbal. This prevents the camera with the plate from accidentally falling out. Next we find a lens holder in the set. This is also made of aluminium and has a foam on the top. Here we have the screw for the camera and the lens holder. These also make a good impression and I have absolutely no worries that these will break. Both are made from one piece of metal. Now let's go to the tripod. This is again completely made of aluminium and is super robust. The joints are clean and made of metal. Absolutely nothing wobbles here. The tripod has a rubber feet for standing. It is also rubberized on the outside. This means that the tripod can also be used as an extended handle for the gimbal. It therefore doesn't have to be removed during operation. It is only folded in for this. Now we come to the part you have all been waiting for. The AK2000C from FeiyuTech. As I said in the beginning, the first impression is very good. Even when I pick it up for the second time, I don't have a different feeling here. The processing looks great so far. I think the wood look on the handle is beautiful. But this isn't real wood. It's just a plastic panel that looks like wood. The display is a color touch display. But we will do a function test later. The buttons and the joystick under the display grip each other well. Only the rocker switch is a bit wobbly. I find this a bit of shame after everything else has been so good up to now. On the side you can find a port for charging the gimbal. And on the top motor there is a USB-C port for controlling the camera. But okay, let's go a little further up. On one motor we find a nice imprint of the manufacturer. The type designation AK2000C can be found on the other arm. The arm should also be made of aluminium. There is a latch on every motor. These lock the gimbal during transport. This prevents the motors from twisting. As soon as you unlock it, let all axes turn super smoothly. There is also no grinding or scratching here. Each motor has a small clamp to balance the gimbal. Before use, each axis must be balanced. Otherwise, there are problems with the alignment. The mounting plate for the camera is also folded in. In order to unfold this from the transport state, the screw on the underside must be loosened. Then you can turn the plate by 90 degrees. You will find 2 threads on the bottom. At the top of the handle you will also find a thread on both sides. Let's screw the tripod onto the gimbal. This is really tight and so the gimbal can be held great with 2 hands. If you fold out the legs, the whole gimbal is super stable. The device is balanced in this position. Then let's start the beautiful thing. There is a button on the side for this. The first time it is starting, the device asks for a language. There is English and Chinese here. Then that was it with the setup. From now the gimbal could be used. Swipe sideways to get to the menu. For correct use, you should always calibrate the gimbal and set the motors accordingly. When this is done, you will have the best user experience. I also looked at the videos from the QR codes. And you really should see them too. Because here you will be explained exactly how to balance and calibrate the device. These are super helpful. Finally, I will briefly show you a few test shots. My conclusion. I think the gimbal is great. Quality, workmanship and functions are great too. It works perfectly and the recordings are nice and smooth. Obviously it takes some practice with a gimbal. I also have to acquire this experience and knowledge first. It is also my first real gimbal. But I hope that this one will be very helpful for my YouTube videos. But I like this very much, and I think that it works great for everyone who's interested. You will get a really good gimbal. Thanks for watching. Do you already have a gimbal and have tips and tricks for it? Then please let me know in the comments. I'm happy about your feedback. See you next time.